G'day everyone. How are you all? What do you got?
Weird CD?
No, I'm well and truly ready to go.
Is Charlie Curnow going to be a Carlton player certainly next year?
Well, the club's made it really clear that, from our perspective, Charlie's got 4 years on a deal, and we expect him to be at Carlton for those 4 years.
Has an offer come from Sydney, Geelong, Gold Coast that's made you maybe consider moving?
No.
What makes you think about an offer? What's the sort of package you guys are looking for?
Look, I don't think it's going to be helpful for me to go into hypotheticals about that right now. It's fair to say that, from our perspective, that Charlie's got a contract for the next period of time, and there's nothing that has come to us that would have us reconsider that.
So you would take phone calls if phone calls came through about him?
Well, I guess firstly you've got to answer that call, don't you? And then you've got to work out what the person's saying on the other end of that line. So it's Nick's job to be able to field those calls. But we've been really clear, and I can't be any more clear in saying that the club's perspective is that Charlie's a highly valued member of our playing group, and we want him to be at Carlton for the next period of time.
Is it frustrating that someone is on such a nice and long deal that they then want to move on?
Look, I'm not in the position at Carlton to be frustrated right now. I mean, we've got some things that we want to achieve through this trade period that Nick and the team will have to work through. But Charlie's not a frustration. He's a player who we value really highly, and we want to be part of our group into the future.
My boss said that you've culturally defeated yourselves at Carlton this year and over the last little patch. How do you sell that culture to players you're trying to bring across, and to players like Charlie to keep them to stay? What's the future that you're saying to them?
Well, I think Michael's comments last night, from my standpoint, I'm looking at them as to what the opportunity is for 2026 and beyond. I think in any situation, the first thing that you can do is identify the issues that you've got and then go to work on fixing them. I'm fortunate in the perspective right now that I don't have any relationship with Carlton on 2025, but what I do have is an opportunity to help the club into the future, and that will certainly be my focus.
So just in that sense, as a pair of fresh eyes, what have your observations been of the club and culture so far?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't want to say my fresh eyes are any deeper into this than about 4 days. So, what has been clear is that people are giving me a view of what they've seen Carlton as in 2025, and I'm going to have to work out the ways that I can be helpful into the future.
You had great success with player retention at Port. What do you think that worked there that you can potentially bring over to this program?
Again, I just think that's very difficult for me to answer right now. And I don't particularly want to go into anything that happened in my time at Port Adelaide. But what you've got to be able to do is provide the right environment for players to thrive. And I don't want to suggest that hasn't been the case in the past, but it'll be something that'll be a focus of mine into the future.
Chris, Zach Butters might be available, whether it's this trade period or as a free agent in 12 months' time. Do you potentially try to get in his ear a bit as someone who's very close to him for a long time?
Look, I think any time that Zach decided to leave Port Adelaide, then there's going to be a whole heap of clubs that are into him. But again, I don't particularly want to be answering questions on Zach right now, other than to say that he's a fantastic player and he's a really good guy.
Campbell Chesser will be hopefully coming to the club. How do you see that deal working itself out?
Well, that'll be up to Nick and Matty Clark to put together over the next period of time. He's out of contract over there and wants to find a home with Carlton. I'm sure that there'll be something that gets done with that over the trade period.
Just back on Zach, do you feel like he's a live option this year?
Well, Port Adelaide have said no. So from that standpoint, there's not much for me to discuss.
Has there been any progress on Elijah Hollands finding a potential new home?
Not to this point. I think that importantly, we've given Elijah the opportunity to explore what the future might look like for him. Whether that is at another club or not, will remain to be seen. But I think importantly, we're all going into 2026 with eyes wide open, with Elijah having the opportunity to explore whatever options he may have.
If you can't find another club, will you have him back at Carlton next year?
Yeah, I mean, cross that bridge when the time comes. But right now, Elijah will be looking for a new home in this period, and we'll work with him as to what 2026 needs to look like into the future.
Have there been any early discussions around Buku Kamas?
Look, some discussions between the two clubs. I'm really not sure where that's going to end, Mark. But again, it's great to have players who want to actually come to your club, and Buku, as with the other guys that you mentioned there, are certainly going to help our club from a depth perspective into the future. So I really hope that deal can get done, but that will rely upon the Western Bulldogs.
Just back on Charlie, Chris, is there a preferred trade partner for you?
Well, there's no preferred partner because, as I said, our perspective on Charlie is that we want him to remain at Carlton for the next period of time. I think that we've all got to acknowledge that, and I want to be really clear on this, is that our club values Charlie really highly. He is a player who has been a significant player in the AFL competition, and as much as you want to talk about Zach and some other people, Charlie Curnow for us is a player who our people love, who our players love, and we want him to be successful at Carlton into the future, and that's the message that you all need to hear right now.
Have you had a word with Craig in the Sun stand about Bailey Humphrey?
No, I haven't, but Craig's a good guy who I have had a long history with. But this is the interesting part of where the trade period has got to, isn't it? That a number of names come up, whether they're contracted or not. It's probably an evolution that's happened pretty significantly in the last couple of years, and you're seeing now players who have committed to clubs for long periods of time wanting to try and find their way out. It'll be interesting space to watch into the future.